Okay, just starting to assemble what I can without the cam bolt bits. I'm looking at come to the front of the engine now, so I'm hoping to get the alternator bracket goes on there. I have got pictures, but it's kind of self. Alternator bracket goes on there, and alternator sort of sits there, and then one of the long bolts goes in there. I think that can sit there and not be a problem. And I believe I've put the wire, I took it off with the wiring on the alternator, and that wire is there, the one for the sender, and then I believe, according to my picture, the loom goes up there and through there, and then along the top there, so it kind of goes behind there. I'm pretty sure that's where it goes up there. I've put the cover back on the alternator. I've seen some and they haven't got that on. Looks like it just sort of forces air in there, because that faces forward and then must give it air to cool it down. I don't know if there should be something on the end of there, but I don't know if you get loads of water in there or what, or there's meant to be another pipe on there. I'm not really sure. I haven't seen anything. The connections on the alternator, pretty self-explanatory really. You just got one, should have really took a picture, but you've got one sort of 30mm nut with a big thick live with like a plastic bit underneath to insulate it. Then you've got that which fits into the cover to stop it all moving about and pulling out. And then it's a B posit, I can't remember what the label it has, but like a blue wire that goes onto I think that's a M8 nut there, and then the casing just goes on these. Obviously I had this checked, and there's nothing wrong with it. Some of the wiring's a bit squashed and whatever, but this, to be fair, it's quite soft. It's been, you can see where it's been marked and squashed a bit, but it's not broken or cracked or anything like that. And I think anything I do without replacing the old lot is going to detract from it, so I'm probably just going to tape that up just to give it a bit more protection. This is the one that goes to the level sensor. Like a funny soldered crimp on end. This connector was all brittle and broke off, so I'm going to put a bit of heat shrink on that, push it round and then heat shrink it on, so that's insulated a little bit. Rest of the wiring, I kind of took photos of where everything went. Can't remember which bit that is. That might be the starter bit. That is the starter one, because it's orange, because it goes underneath, and that's sort of where it goes near the exhaust, I think. And this is that so-called pin that gives people a lot of trouble. It all looks quite good. I've not opened it up. This one's I've been resoldered. That's like the big live that goes onto like a live that sticks out on the left hand side of the engine bay. I'll just take this tape off, probably put some heat shrink on, tidy that up a bit. The rest of it, unless I see any wires that are broke or cracked, I'm just going to put it all back on. Some of the connectors probably just want replacing or cleaning up, but generally it's not actually half bad. I mean, this shielding has gone sort of hard and it's shaped to this where it goes, but the new sleeving I get, it's a lot softer than this. I mean, this stuff's really hard. Obviously it's gone hard over time, but it's really tough. So I think this is, unless I'm going to build a whole new loom, which I could do, to be fair, because there's not that much wires in it, but I don't see the need. If there's any problem with it, you know, you can get to most of the loom. You could take the whole loom off quite easily with the engine in, I think. That yellow one's taped up. Don't know what that's for. I don't know why this is. I think that does go to something, but it's obviously routed differently. So if it doesn't need to be that long, what I might do is cut it down, so I've not got a big bundle of wires taped up. They're the earths that I think they just screw on the block somewhere on the head. I think they do. And then those are the ones that go to the middle sort of spider bit, I think. But yeah, so I'm going to clean the bits of wiring up that I need to. Free off that. So this is that's sort of the bracket that goes on the bottom of the block. And then I can't quite remember how it goes, but that's pivoted on something. That's kind of like the adjuster bit. There's it. Yeah, that's it. That bolts on, and then as you wind that sort of up and down, it stays in that bracket and pulls this up and down, and that bit where my finger's tapping on goes through the bottom of the alternator, I think, and adjust it. So I'm going to free all this off, just make sure that's all free and nice. Them ones don't matter so much, I think they just bolt it on, but obviously this one needs to be greased up and nice and free. I'm not going to paint it up, I don't see the point. I could spend hours cleaning that up, and as long as it's greased up and it does the job. I'm only going to have to touch it when you don't see it, and I'm only going to have to touch it when if I ever change the belt or whatever. So yeah, I'm going to clean them up and hopefully get the alternator bolted on, unless I find that I can't put it on because it's going to stop me putting the cam bolt on, but I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I don't think it gets in the way of anything. When I put it all on, I'll sort of take some pictures of it so you can see where all these brackets go, because if you hadn't got pictures and you just got these bits in a box, it might, take a bit of working out. I'm going to have to look back at my picture just to make sure I'm doing it the right way around, because sometimes you can put things the wrong way around and it doesn't, won't work properly, but it would go on that way. But yeah, I don't think there's much else I can do on the front of the engine, to be honest. Next, yeah, I think once I've put this on, that's about it on the block until I get the head gaskets. No point putting anything else. Yeah, I could put the injection bit on, but obviously I've left all the pipes on that, so I can't put that on until I put the heads on. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. So I think once the heads are on, before the cam bolt goes on, I'm going to fill it with oil and spin the oil pump and try and get some oil around it first, and keep topping the oil up till it's up to the right level. So I think hopefully Sunday, if there's nothing stuck on the lift here, which I don't think there will be, I'm going to get the car on the lift and do the radiator and auto gearbox and hopefully clean the exhaust out. And if I get all that done, then once the engine's in, and I've not got, I can bang on and get that done. Okay, hopefully if these videos are interesting, or you've got any comments, or you want to tell me I'm doing something wrong, or you can see something that's wrong, because if you're familiar with these things, you probably look at it and say, oh, that's not right, he's doing that wrong, but I wouldn't know. It's the first one I've looked at. And it's so difficult to Google stuff and compare stuff online, because there's so many different ideas, and all cars have been messed with, and they're all old and they're all different models. I did do some Googling on the numbers on the heads, and the only ones I could find that were the same seemed to be S2 heads, so Series 2 heads. So I don't know if that means it's a 310 horsepower engine. I thought that was 84 onwards or something, but I'm sure the piston says 83 on, but I don't know when the model years start, so it could well be a 310 horsepower one, even though it's got the early injection on, because the injection is probably from the car, but the engine probably isn't, so they would have just put the earlier injection on the later engine, maybe. But if anybody knows if that head means it's a 310 horsepower, I mean the pistons are the same size as far as I'm aware, but I believe it's just the heads and compression that's sort of different. I know the slightly later middle injection one, the next one up from mine, gives it a bit more power, and they have twin distributors, but I think the twin distributors work off one. They work off one distributor, so I don't know as that makes any difference, to be honest. Obviously you probably get a bit more power with the sort of S2 310 injection system because it's electronic, but I would have thought if the engine's a 310 engine, it's still going to have a bit more compression, which is good if it is a 310. Plus I've had the heads machined, so I don't know if that makes an interference engine or not. I've heard various people, so no one seems to know precisely exactly, and I've got no idea now with this engine because I don't know which bits are what. But I certainly am not going to turn it over without the belt on properly. So when I put the heads on, well, when I put the cam carriers on, I will set them at top dead centre and I'll put the cam belt on, and I won't spin them or the engine until the belt's on. I think just in case, because I don't know how easy it is to sort of turn it over by hand. If you think it's a bit of compression, turn it over by hand and bend a valve. I don't quite know how it works, but really once the heads are together and the cams are on, the cams are set at the right position and the bottom end's set at the right position, as long as I don't turn it much, the crank much either way, and I put the belt on and then tension it up, there shouldn't be any problem even if it is an interference engine. I don't know if it is or not, but I can't tell because of the engine number. So the fact that part number came up as S2, so like an 84 S2 head, I believe it did. Some more numbers on here. I don't know if that means anything. Yeah, does that say 82? I think so. 22. But yeah, that part number, the only one I can find that's got the same number as that on the heads is an S2 one, so who knows. 10 horsepower ain't a lot, but if it's, you know, it makes a bit of a difference. It's be nice to know 100% exactly. Right, it's time to go home. Obviously, if you do enjoy the videos and you like them, and just give me a like or subscribe, then you'll get, you know, I think these get sent to you, or it alerts you when there's a new video out. I've not been doing as much recently because I'm kind of doing a little bit because I haven't got much bits, but once I start banging on with the cam belt, I'll be staying a bit later and doing a lot more work, and want to get it in and done as soon as possible because the engine's taking a fair bit of space here. The car's sat outside, and even if when it's running there's other stuff needs doing, as long as it's running and driving, because it's MOT and tax system, as long as the brakes work and it's not chucking fuel out and it's running okay, I should just take it home and then potter about in it and just do bits as I use it. But yeah, hopefully my head gaskets will be here soon. I think at the end of this I'm probably going to have like a big box of bits left over and stuff I bought by accident and stuff I haven't used, and second-hand stuff that probably might be used for somebody. So I'm probably just going to do a big job lot and just sell it on eBay. I mean, even things like the old water pump, I don't know if you can have them reconditioned, put new bearings in them or what. That is a metal impeller one, I think. So I don't know if that's an original one, it's probably not, but bits like that, you know, somebody might want to press the pulley off and put new bearings in it, which you probably can do. Nothing else wrong with it really. But anything like that, yeah, I'm going to flog and sell on. I've got a few bushes and bits and bobs left over, and an extra cam belt I don't need now because I bought the wrong one, of course. But yeah, okay, speak to you next time.